Hello, hello, Table Mannerz here with another video, Human Earth Planets, and today we're going to be taking apart the Stanton Str8 150. This is the OG Gen. This is not the Mark II, so what was wrong with it, you ask? Well, glad you asked. The 45 speed doesn't work at all. This turntable has been through the ringer. It's been to gigs, house parties, it's used every day, and it's had almost everything spilt on it. So, what are you gonna need? Admittedly, this was my first attempt at really taking anything this complicated apart. I don't have the skill set yet to be able to successfully repair. So preface, this repair did not work. What you will see, which I think is really cool, is the inside of the Stanton Str8 150 and most of a teardown. And with everything apart, I was able to actually sufficiently clean everything that's ever been spilt on this thing. It's pretty gross. You're gonna wanna make sure that when you're doing this, it's on something really soft. The turntable itself is quite heavy. I can't remember exactly how much it weighs, but I've never taken apart a turntable, so I wasn't exactly sure about how to go about it. Let's get into the video. And here, this is the turntable. It's pretty straightforward. It's a direct drive, so it uses a pretty strong magnet. The platter actually pulls off. When you go to do this, you're gonna notice it's difficult to pull off. It's okay. You can stick your fingers in the holes there and just reef on it. It will come off. But at first I was like, am I gonna break it? These things are pretty tough. You're not gonna break this thing. Well, you know. We're not gonna take any of the screws off in the front just yet. We're gonna start on the back. So everything must go, starting with the base supports, starting with the feet. That's what I'm gonna call them. And they screw out. You keep turning them to left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. After that's done, we're just gonna take every single screw out in the back. Just be aware, some of these screws were in there good. You need just right angle to get in there. Gotta give it a shake every once in a while just to get the screws out. So I'm gonna do this a couple times. Okay, so I'm giving it a shake here. It was a little bit tricky to get off, only because there was one screw or two that were still catching slightly. So it felt like it was coming off, but it wouldn't have come off. Or it just would have busted something. So here you go. Just make sure all the screws are taken out. You can see I'm having an issue with this. There, that's the screw. All right, there's the inside. Holy crap. I have no clue where the problem is. It's got to be something with the 33 and 45 like buttons. Maybe something's not communicating. This guy right here, I'm not sure. It's definitely dirty and we'll clean it, but something isn't sending the signal, and it's not just the light. So it's definitely something in that little board. And in retrospect, knowing what I know now with the repairs I've done, I would have spent a little bit more time either heating, reflowing this board, or I would have used that magical Deoxit 5 to get rid of any corrosion and help improve metal contacts, as you know. All right, so just make sure it's unplugged. Those little guys, I highly recommend needle nose pliers for removing them, especially if your fingers are big. It's really hard to pull out without that, and you don't want to tug on the cables themselves to pull the little plastic piece out. The plug, I don't know what to call that either. Anyways, that's where the issue is. The battery looks kind of glossy. I think it's supposed to look like that. It wasn't sticky or anything. So here you go. Needle nose pliers does the trick. I'm not too sure what any of this stuff is. I know the magnets in the middle. I know the boards up top are for the RCAs. That's the battery. And these are the switches. You know, you start and stop your turntable. This is your secondary switch. So if your turntables are in battle mode, it would be the one on your left. Yeah, everything like looks okay, honestly, when I'm taking this off. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as holy crap, that's busted. So we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna work on removing the magnet. I think that's what you call it. So when you flip the turntable back over, be careful not to just flip it over, because the magnet's so heavy it could rip. It could. I'm not saying it would. It's pretty tough. And everything's really well built. You can see everything, all the wires are nicely twist tied. Some of them are actually zip tied. So I just left those alone for now. So this is the motherboard that contains the magnet. So I'm assuming all the information that's coming from the other boards connected to the switches are telling this board how much like more power is going to go through so that the platter can spin faster or slower. Just make sure that everything you can remove to take this out is removed from all the other boards. So that's all these pins. I think they're called pins or plugs. I don't know. The plastic things. Those just pop out. There's a lot of them, so careful not to miss any. You don't want to accidentally take it out and pull on one. I did get this one above out of shot, but I am removing it. You can see the shadow will speak for itself. I am removing. Okay. So once all of this is detached, the battery is detached. Should have done that first, honestly. Twist ties are going to be open so that I can move some cables around to kind of shimmy this thing out. All right. Again, this is like the heavy part. This thing's surprisingly heavy when you feel it. There's going to be a couple rogue screws you can overlook, but just make sure everything's unscrewed and keep all your screws for that particular item in the same spot so that you don't lose track. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's cool. Don't know what to do with it, but that's neat. This does look a little dirty too. We're going to make sure we clean everything eventually with our isopropyl. Here's just another angle. My camera adjusted for the lighting. My apologies. This silver cardboard tinfoil thing, I don't know what it is, but it's got to go. And you'll see too, there's the ground switches. You can see one ground switch, it was screwed into the, there it is, the little silver guy. And another one is connected to the base of the board. So just make sure all your grounds go back when you're putting everything back together. Okay. A lot of information travels through these parts. Still understanding this thing. Honestly, this is why you take your turntable to a turntable tech. Like, some things you can do. For this one as well, when you get the pitch control board off, you're going to have trouble if you forget to pull off the little nubbin. Yeah, see, you got to unplug those pins. Needle nose pliers really help. There's so many. Just don't lose track of where they go. It's pretty easy because they're kind of stuck in place. But let's flip this over and take a look at it. So this one was one of the ones that was like zip tied to the board, and I wasn't gonna chop up a bunch of zip ties and stuff. And other pieces of this board, like the tone arm, I won't even touch. I'm too scared. So this is your pitch control board, and because of how much stuff is on here, I know that the 45 switch is so basic, it might just be sending that signal to this board. It might be this board that isn't communicating that as well. Could be. They're connected through wires. So let's get to some cleaning. I'm not going to deal with that plastic crap and the removing the RCAs. I don't feel I need to be honest. Everything there works fine. But the boards were incredibly dirty. So you can see on the Q-tips, there's sometimes it turns yellow from probably beer spilt on it, like definitely beer. And brown from some other stuff, but that will have a negative impact on the way that your electronics communicate. And sometimes that's all it honestly needs. In the past, I've been able to fix small issues by just cleaning everything inside. Also, the RCAs are pinned down by these little like plastic things that, I don't know, maybe if you're a solder expert, you know what that stuff is. I don't, so I didn't want to remove it or break it off the board because I also don't have a solder gun. I'll probably learn because it seems like something I'm gonna need to know how to do when I tackle things as complicated as a turntable. However, that will be for a future video. Everything fits back nice. Just making sure I clean every last bit of everything, because when liquids get into a turntable, it tends to get in there. And of course, anything sugary is going to get inside, and it's going to wreak havoc over time, because it's just going to eat away at your electronic connections. So making sure those are clean too, which is why, man, back then I wish I knew what I knew now, because yeah, Deoxit 5. I'm not being paid by Deoxit 5, just as a side note. It's just a dope tool. You can see how yellow those Q-tips were also, by the way, in the past. Popping everything back together. I did make a mistake here initially. I forgot a couple screws, but it's all good. That thing pops off really easily. Just there are some screws that are supposed to go in the board first, and then there's other screws that go in the board, but also the metal tinfoil hat that your turntable wears. Can anyone out there like tell me what that thing is even for? I was trying to figure it out. I was like, does it ground? No, can't possibly. Like, I just don't get what it's for. Maybe for so that it distributes the heat. Maybe that board gets really hot. Is that supposed to distribute heat equally? Guys, I don't know. Out of all the things I've taken apart almost everything in my current setup now. This one was the most complicated to try to figure out, by far. So take it to a turntable tech. I'm not going to, but you should. Oof. I do really like, though, everything coming back together and nice and clean, regardless of if it fixed the problem or not. Spoiler alert, it did not. It's still really neat to see the inside of the gear that you're working with, and I think it's really important too. It's your instrument, so you should know it. You should know how to replace your guitar strings if you're a guitarist. You should know what kind of strings you like and prefer for your particular sound. I think it's really good as a turntablist or a musician or whatever equipment you're using. You should know what's going on the inside, in my opinion, because they're all instruments. Not in the traditional sense, but okay, plugging all these guys back in. These were easier to get back in, even with my large fingers. It's nice and firm, they click in. Just a lot of them. And keep your wires organized too. But you can see some of the ones that are plastic, like twist tied down, zip tied, whatever you want to call it, and just didn't want to mess with that yet. I wasn't ready. I was overwhelmed. But yeah, at this point, I'm just happy I remembered where everything went. And the other thing too, just keeping all of your screws in spots that you're going to remember where they went. You're not going to be like, I don't know, this screw looks like it could go here, let's just put it here, because you're going to get to the end and realize that that long screw you put into this short spot needs to go in at the end, you know, something like that. So yeah, it all just plugs back in. You can see a huge difference from when we took it apart to now when we're putting it back together. Everything is just, it looks new, which is why I do think it's some sort of issue with the meddling. It's an issue with the connection somewhere on that big board or the board that we're looking at right now, the switchboard here. It's one or the other for sure. It's nothing else that we've touched. So when I take it apart again, I'm really going to focus on that. And if I need to figure out how to solder to fix this, I'm gonna. It's still playable, and you can still kind of cheat by pitching up really high if you want to try playing a 45. But I mean, it's just nice to click 45 when you're playing a 45. The convenience of it all, especially if you're battling or putting together a routine. Alright, so this guy pops back on. I am excited because I'm almost done with this thing, and I'm hoping that all that cleaning that we did is going to make some sort of difference with our issue. So, the last thing we're going to do is put on the feet, and what we're going to do right now is secure the back. All the screws must go back in. here we go. Popping it in, nice and easy. So fun. I just love doing that. It's heavy, don't forget it. So just be careful when you're moving it around and stuff. Alright, securing that magnet in there, giving it a good wipe down. Oh, brand new. Oh yeah, just making sure that I clean the contacts with isopropyl inside the tone arm. Give it a good spray for good measure. Nothing can be interfering. This honestly just sticks back on, push it down, you're good to go. Done. Let's give it some power and see if it works. After we put the feet on. I'm gonna put those feet on and then we'll see. Alright, I'm feeling good about it, feeling happy. Power is on, you can see the lights are on. Okay, let's try 45 speed, here we go. Come on, come on. Get it, nope. Get it, nope. Get it, nope. Nope. Nope, it's not gonna work, man, no matter how hard you push that thing. Oh, everything else works. Great. Oh, nope, won't work. 45 won't work, man. Stop trying. Oh, what about 78? If I press both buttons, that might do something. I guess not. Yep. No matter how hard I hold down or wiggle, something's not communicating. The platter is spinning, it's working. Okay, let's test the pitch. Ooh, see that break is nice. You only get that with direct drive. Pitch up, pitch down. You can see the platter speeds up and slows down depending on if I've pitched it up or down. See? Easy peasy. So, unfortunately, this didn't solve the underlying issue, but we know more, we've gained information, so it was not a waste of time. I completely know what I need to try next, and I'm going to keep gaining information, and now at least I feel confident to at least kind of try and figure out if there's an issue with something, where it would be even inside. I think that's really valuable to have, especially if things go wrong. Maybe you can fix it. Yeah, send it to a turntable tech. I know you turntable techs are out there somewhere. Hey, and if you are and you see this YouTube video and you're like, yo, that guy was so close, or yo, that guy sucks, just like comment and help me out here, because if I have to resolder something, I need to know, and that'll help me in the future as well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me at the Human Earth Planet and taking a look at the inside of the Stanton Str8 150 direct drive turntable. It's been really fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something too. Make sure to follow me on YouTube and subscribe, as well as subscribe to me on Twitch. I live stream there, make beats, tutorial videos for making beats, mostly all in Machine, but also Logic. I also game on there, so if you're like, turntables are cool, but I'd rather play a game, yo, I do that too, so come check it out. Subscribe to Twitch, Table Mannerz 01. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again.